Number 3 says after 2 seconds, a ball is tossed in the air from the ground level. It reaches the height given by that equation. So the height is given by the equation 144t, take away 16t squared. So this is a t. It says, what is the maximum height of the ball after 3 seconds? Again, the ball's path should follow something like this. And I assume it looks like this, because in this problem, there's no constant. So there's, at 0 seconds, the ball is also at 0 feet. So if I plug in 0 for time, I get output of height 0. So I know the graph looks like this. It starts at the origin. It says what's the maximum, what is the height of the ball at 3 seconds? The best way to find that is plug in 3 for t. So you plug in 3 for t, you get this, 144 times 3, subtract 16 times 3 squared. That output is, so at 3 seconds, the output is at 288. So that's what order we had, 288. So at 3 seconds, the height is 288 feet. Second part of the question says, what is the maximum height of the ball? So the maximum height is found by the vertex. So it's this point here. So to find the vertex, you have to write this equation into vertex form. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take that equation, which is h equals to 144t, take away 16t squared. And that's not really in the right order. So to begin the problem, you have to rewrite that into the proper order. So it's going to be h equals to negative 16t squared first, plus 144t. So it should be positive 144 because that's positive. And then afterwards, you should group together the ones with variables. And there's only 2 numbers with variables in it. So group these together. And we factor out a negative 16 from both. Gives you negative 16 in front. Gives you t squared. And if you factor out a negative, that becomes negative. And 144 divided by 16. So if you can calculate 144 divided by 16, you should get the second number to be 9. That's 9t. So after I factor that out, that's what it is. To continue putting it in vertex form, you would take half of 9 and square it. So subtract 9t. Half of 9 is 4.5. So 4.5 squared. 4.5 squared gives you 20.25. That's your c value. And outside, you got to subtract c. So subtract 20.25 times negative 16. I didn't write my c and then c times negative 1 or plus 0 to the end, but that's the process. You'll find c inside, subtract it outside, and multiply by the a value. So this would wind up being in vertex form, negative 16t take away 4.5 squared, and then that product is 324, so plus 324. So know the vertex. The vertex of this ball is at positive 4.5 and 324. That's the vertex of that ball. So if I want to know the maximum height, I know the maximum height is 324, because that's where the vertex is. So the maximum height of that ball is 324 feet. And then it says, when does the ball reach its maximum height? And that's going to be at 4.5 seconds, because that's the x value of the vertex, or the k value or the h value of the vertex. So it's going to be at 4.5 seconds. The next one says, after how many seconds does the ball hit the ground? So ultimately, you want to know when that equation hits the ground again. So you want to find out when that equation hits the ground. You should take the original equation and set it equal to 0. And if you do that, you should be able to solve it. Or you take any of the equations and set it equal to 0. It might be easiest to take this last equation and set that equal to 0. So I want to know when that equation equals 0. So basically, if I said that equal to 0, I get negative 16 t take away 4.5 squared plus 324. And to figure out what makes that part 0, that's when height 0, you will subtract 324. That gives you negative 324 equals negative 16. T take away 4.5 squared. And then from there, in order to finish it, you divide both sides by negative 16. So if you divide everything by negative 16, you will get, that should give you 20.25 equals the T take away 4.5 squared. And that goes back to the early part in the year when you solved the equations where you had to take the square root. So if I gave you 20.25 equals to T take away 4.5 squared, you have to square root the left side and square root the right side. So by square rooting that, the square root of that is, so that's 4.5. So it's going to be 4.5 equals the T take away 4.5. But yet plus or minus 4.5. Because you square root, you should get plus or minus. So we have T take away 4.5 equals to 4.5. And T take away 4.5 equals a negative 4.5. So if that's true, if I add 4.5 here, I get 9. So we'll answer T is 9. And if I look at the second one, if I added 4.5 there, another answer T is 0. So T is, the height is 0 when time is, the height is 0 when time is 0 and time is 9. So if I look at my equation, my height is 0 when my time was 0 and when my time is 9. Another way we could thought about this is, if this is 4.5, it's going to be twice as far over, right? If that's the middle of it, it's got to be twice as far over, so that's 9. So the second part of the question, or the next part of the question says, when will the ball hit the ground? So the ball hit the ground at about 9 seconds. That's all the parts of number 3.